Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So now that Twist of Fate is back on Zeeworld, I feel like it is also the right time for me to also continue on this channel. So before I went away, Rambo has finally got to know that Prachi is pregnant with his baby, and Rambo finally decided to divorce Rhea. And Rhea shocked everyone, saying that she is pregnant, and even the doctor confirmed that Rhea is pregnant. Then Pallavi refused to accept Prachi's baby, celebrating Rhea's fake pregnancy. And even though Pallavi did not know that Prachi is pregnant, but Pallavi tells Prachi that even though she says that she is pregnant, then she will not still accept her baby. And Rhea finally confessed to Aliyah how she got pregnant. But Rhea lied to Aliyah that Rambo was intoxicated. Rambo was drunk, and that was when he got intimate with her. But that is a lie. You will get to know in one of my updates very soon. Then Rambo's grandmother finds out about Prachi's pregnancy and she was happy. But Prachi made grandmother promise her that she will not tell anyone because she is keeping her pregnancy from everyone, not knowing that Rambo has already found out that she is pregnant. Then Aliyah asked Rhea to go and manipulate and blackmail Prachi emotionally so that Prachi can leave the Kohli's house. And Rhea did just that, pleaded in front of Prachi and did all sorts of things. But Prachi decided to fight for her right for the sake of her baby. So that was the last update I gave before I stopped posting on this channel. So let's continue from there. Prachi is thinking about Rhea's word. She says Rhea has changed herself for her child and she wants to give everything to her baby. Prachi asks her baby not to be sad and says your mother will give you all the happiness of the world. Prachi says first, your mother thought not to share you with anyone and she will not tell anyone about your arrival. Prachi says to her unborn baby that I thought to tell your aunt, but now she feels that she herself is sufficient for him or her. She says, I will give everyone's love to you. She says to her baby that one relationship will be sufficient for you. We will go somewhere from here, where we both will be there and nobody else. Prachi says to her baby that let's go. We should pack our stuff. Prachi cries and says to her unborn baby that we are going far away from everyone. But if your father wants to meet you, then I will not stop you. But don't trust your father. Rhea opens the door and sees Rambo sitting. Rambo says he wanted to talk to Rhea, and then he saw Rhea going to her aunt's room, and then to the storeroom. Rhea asks Rambo if he is secretly listening to her and Aliyah's conversation. Rambo asks, why will I hear your conversation? And says that he was feeling dizzy, and that was why he sat down. Rhea says, I am pregnant, and you are the one feeling dizzy. Rhea says she wanted to talk to her aunt, and that was why she came out when Rambo was sleeping. Rambo asks Rhea why is she getting nervous. Rhea says she wants a caring husband. Rambo says he is a caring husband for his wife. Rambo says I have to go and burn these chilies. Rhea asks if mommy gave you this. Rambo goes and thinks that I know that Rhea is up to something. If you try to harm Prachi, then you'll find me in front of her. Rhea thinks that she is up to something and Rambo cannot catch her. Prachi thinks that she should move on for her baby. She takes her bags and packs her clothes. Prachi says I will not stay here and says you move me from your life, Rambo. Then I will move you from my memories too. She says I thought to snatch Rambo's happiness from him by hiding my pregnancy news from you, but you betrayed me by telling me about Rhea's pregnancy news. Prachi says that she would forget Rambo, but she will not forget his betrayal. Prachi thinks that every girl thinks that her auntie shall go from the same house where her palanquin had come, so she gets the same husband in every bath. She says, I thought that Rambo is my kukumbagia, then why am I here? Prachi comes to Rambo and Rhea's room and sees them sleeping on the same bed. Prachi wishes Rhea's baby, calling herself as mother. She says she wishes that the baby should get happy family and everyone's blessings. Prachi leaves. Rhea wakes up hearing the door sound and she looks at Rambo. Prachi comes to the hall with her bag and she records their moment together. Prachi opens the door and she says many memories are attached with this house, but I don't want anything from this house. Rambo comes there and holds Prachi's hand, asking her not to go. Prachi asks Rambo, who are you to stop me? Rambo asks if I am nothing to you, then why do you feel bad? Prachi says I am an emotional person and I feel bad for bad things. Rambo says you feel bad because you love me. Prachi says these things doesn't matter and she calls Rambo selfish. Rambo asks, do you really want to leave this house? Prachi says yes, and nobody can stop me, not even you. Ramru says to Prachi that everyone gets ruined due to your ego. Ramru says, when I accuse you with Siddharth's name, you did not try to solve the problem, but you left the house. Ramru says I was upset and you did not try to resolve it. Prachi asks if her anger is not justified and if she doesn't have to feel anything. Prachi says to Ramru that I came back to you and you had already married Rhea. She asks why did he marry Rhea so soon? Ramru says you had left me and that is why I gave your place to Rhea. Prachi says be happy and let me be happy. Ramru says I don't want to fight with you. I just want to ask you not to leave. Prachi says you did not say this then why now? Ramru asks Prachi not to go and says I couldn't say this that time and he says many things will be ruined if you leave. Prachi asks what worse could have happened. Ramru says when you left me, I thought that was worse, but many worse things happened with me. Ramru says I came behind you that day, but how could I stop you after saying so many bad things to you? Prachi says I am thinking about myself and she turns to go. She sees Grandma stopping her and Grandma asks Prachi to keep her words. Ramru and Prachi's conversation was Prachi's imagination. Grandma says I have no reasons to leave, but I have just you. I want to live for you. Grandma says I feel that my days will be good because of you and Grandma asks Prachi to stay for a few days. Prachi says to Grandma that okay, I will stop for now and she asks Grandma to promise that she will not stop her again. Grandma promises Prachi. Ramru wakes up in the night and sees Rhea beside him on the bed. Ramru thinks that why is Rhea sleeping here and then he thinks that he should sleep on the sofa because Rhea is pregnant. Ramru then thinks to sleep in the study room and he goes out. Vikram and Pallavi sees Ramru going to sleep in the study room. Vikram asks Ramru to come to the terrace with them and have fresh air. Pallavi asks why did you bring the office work home and she asks Ramru to spend time with the family. Ramru says I have some important work to do. Pallavi says I am talking about Rhea and she asks Ramru to go and spend some time with Rhea and fulfill her dream. Vikram asks Ramru to go to the room. Pallavi asks why are we convincing Ramru to spend time with his wife. Pallavi asks if Ramru is thinking to trouble Rhea. Ramru asks why will I think this way. Pallavi asks Ramru to get habitual to spending time with Rhea and she asks him to stop going to the office. Ramru says Rhea is sleeping. Pallavi asks Ramru to go and sit beside Rhea. Maybe she needs anything. Ramru says Dad. Pallavi asks Ramru to go there and be with Rhea. Pallavi asks Ramru to go to Rhea. Ramru goes. Pallavi says to Vikram that we have to make Ramru understand. Vikram says she should not scold him. Pallavi says she will scold him until he becomes a father. Prachi says it is very difficult for her to stay back and says my breath become heavy and I don't want to do this. Grandma says to Prachi that I love you more than I love Ramru and you are staying here for me. She says I loved Ramru a lot but I am upset after whatever he did with you. Grandma apologized to Prachi and says if you stay here then I will get some forgiveness. Prachi asked Grandma that why are you apologizing? It is not your mistake. Grandma says elders should get responsibility of their children. Grandma apologized for Ramru's betrayal and his cheat and everything. Shahana comes there and hears them. Prachi asks Grandma. Shahana says that hugging should be banned and she asks Prachi not to cry but to vent out her anger on Ramru. Grandma says I told Prachi not to cry for her baby. It is not good. Shahana is surprised. Grandma says she knows about Prachi's pregnancy. Shahana tells Prachi that Sarita and Grandma are there for Prachi's baby. She asks Prachi to live life happily and she should not be sad. Grandma says Shahana has said right. Prachi says I try, but old memories remind me of the past. Shahana asks Prachi to bring new stress to keep herself away from Ramru. Prachi says I will try. Vikram talks to someone and tells the person that he wants all the old employees. He says he couldn't handle his happiness as his years-long happiness is going to be fulfilled. Pallavi asks Ramru what is happening. Ramru says I did not know. Vikram tells Ramru and Pallavi that his village project is going to start. He thinks to make a village in Delhi which would have Punjab-like feeling. Vikram says he got the permission and all his old employees are joining him. Ramru congratulates and asks Vikram. Vikram says it is a venture for everyone, but it is my dream for me. Stanley comes there. Ramru asks Stanley to come with him to the study room. Pallavi tries to stop Ramru. Prachi tells Grandma and Shahana that she has decided to show two emotions, either happy or she will show it. She says, I have a good breakfast and it will digest. Shahana says to Prachi that I made the food from Grandma's online recipe. Grandma thanks them. Grandma says, I want to make so much for you, but everyone will ask for whom I am making and for what. Prachi says, you are doing so much with me. She says she thought to play doll, but her blessings are enough. Prachi says celebration happened due to Rhea's pregnancy. Shahana says we are not happy. Grandma says even she doesn't like Rhea. Prachi says Rhea is pregnant and we should not make fun of her. Grandma says she would make laddu for Prachi and she will not tell anybody about her pregnancy. She says she will say that she is making it for Rhea, but Prachi would be the one to eat it. Grandma goes. Shahana tells Prachi that elder support is very needed. Prachi says she has called party decorators and they must have come by now. Stanley gives fowl to Rambro. Rambro asks, do you remember? Stanley says, I remember whatever you say. Stanley asks if everything is good and he asks about Prachi and Rhea. Rambro says to Stanley that nothing is good and says that whatever I thought about Prachi, I couldn't do it. I was about to tell Prachi about my feelings, then Rhea fell down. Stanley says I know and I was in the hospital too. Rambro says the real storm came when the doctor told them about Rhea's pregnancy. Rambro says Prachi was sad and she left from the hospital. Then mommy kept puja for Rhea and she said bad things to Prachi and Prachi left home. Then he searched for Prachi and found her in a rented house and he says I have decided there that I will not leave Prachi and I will be with her. Stanley says to Rambro that your love story is complicated. Rambro says it was always complicated. Rambro says I want to make it simple and I want to live with Prachi. Rambro says Prachi will soon leave this house. When she will leave, then I will stand out to hold her hand. Stanley asks that why is Rambro waiting? Rambro says I am thinking to do something so that I will be kicked out of the house. Rambro says I will make my father's dream project have a big loss and it will break his heart. Rambro says I will convince him later. Rambro says he can bear the loss if Prachi is with him and he gives credit to Stanley for giving him the idea. Aliyah asks Rhea, why didn't you come for breakfast? Rhea tells Aliyah that Pallavi has turned to a psycho. She will feed me like feeding a kid, and then if I am sleeping, then she makes me sleep like a baby and says anything in excess is too much. Rhea says she couldn't digest so much love and says it is very annoying. Aliyah says to Rhea that you had said earlier that you needed your in-laws' love. Rhea says I just want Rambro and nobody else. Aliyah says I also wanted only Purab then, but I couldn't get him. Rhea says I am a step further and I got Rambro. Aliyah says to Rhea that you are the best. Rhea says Prachi did not go from the house. Aliyah says it is a big decision, so Prachi would go soon. Rhea says what if Prachi changes her plan? Aliyah says Prachi would definitely go, and she asks Rhea to have faith in her. Rhea says I trust you completely. Aliyah says I will not disappoint you. Rambro and Stanley comes out of the study room. Rambro says you have come and I got a good idea and says he wants to kiss him. Stanley says you shouldn't kiss me even if I am a girl as you are married. Rambro swells in happiness and he falls. Prachi holds Rambro's hand before he falls. Rambro says you have saved me without Kavachot fast. Prachi bites Rambro's hand and taunts him, saying that she knows how to cut the hand so that the person sleeping can wake up. She taunts Rambro and says you have conveniently forget all the promises you made to me. Rambro smiles and thinks that Prachi should have scolded him more. Shahana smiles. Stanley says to Shahana that she should have united them. Shahana says to Stanley that you are on the wrong train and says she will take him to Oshampur. Pallavi asks Mahua why she did not make juice for Rhea. Mahua says she was doing her work. Pallavi asks her not to do her work and do just Rhea's work. Mahua goes out of the kitchen. Pallavi asks Grandma to choose a good sari because the designer is coming home today. Grandma says okay and she asks why is Pallavi smiling. Pallavi says I am smiling because Rhea wished me Happy New Year first this year. Grandma says your birthday is tomorrow. Pallavi says she has put the effort. Grandma laughs. Pallavi says Rhea would definitely plan a surprise for me and she is lovely. Everyone starts loving Rhea, seeing her loving side. Pallavi goes. Grandma thinks that Pallavi is blinded by Rhea not to see Prachi's goodness. Prachi meets the decorators and asks him to decorate all in the house. Pallavi looks at Prachi. Grandma says, I thought Rhea is getting the decoration done, and she asks Pallavi to open her eyes and see that Prachi is good. Grandma thinks that it is good that she stopped Prachi, and she thinks that until when will Pallavi ignores Prachi's goodness. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget that every episode you watch, the link to the next episode would always be in the description box or in the comment section. Thanks for watching.